What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all?
So why should I wait for you?
What's up, y'all?
Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Can't make up your mind. Hey, so why should I wait for you?
What's up, y'all?
Only wasting
King
time.
Tabernacle, what's up? What's up, Katie?
So why should I wait for you? I wait. I ain't got the time of the day. Barely got time for myself. Call me anytime.
Leave the beer.
Pull up, slide by yourself. I ain't got the time of the day. Barely got time for myself. Say you all alone and you need something.
What's up, Heather,
I
Khadijah,
need you to tell
Nikki,
me what you want,
Venus.
what you really want. Hey, tell me what
Venus
you
is
want,
hiking.
what you really want.
Mika, Brittany.
Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I look like Fillmore Slim.
Can't make up your mind. So why should I wait for you?
What's up, Kamir? What's up, Patrick?
Only wasting time, my time. So why should I wait for you? Why should I wait? I ain't got the time.
Cool He, what's up?
Day. I ain't got the time of the day. Yeah. I ain't got the time of the day. Oh yeah.
I ain't got no time of the day.
I need you to tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I need you to tell me what you want, what you really,
What's up,
really
Ruby?
want. I need you to tell
What's up, Eric?
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
What's up, Ian?
Make up your mind. So why should I wait for you?
What's up, Kareem and Brittany?
I waited, only wasting time, my time.
Listen.
Why should I wait for you?
We should all know by now that the Joe Biden we see today is not the real Joe Biden. He don't look the same. He don't talk the same. This new Joe Biden, it's obvious that this is not the real Joe Biden. So, y'all can't say y'all didn't know because y'all knew. Because we can clearly see it. Appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate it, Ian. Dia Monet. So let me just play. Well, first on the screen on Instagram, I have that statue or sculpture of MLK and Coretta Scott King. Like it was like I guess it was a picture of them embracing each other, and the artist made a sculpture. But what I believe the artist was really doing was he was doing an ode to the trans community. If you look at the actual image of what it is, let me put up on the screen real quick. Hold on. You see a man's hand and you see a woman's hand. But I believe it was done on purpose. It wasn't just bad taste. It wasn't just bad art. I believe they did it like this to make reference to the trans community. I'm trying to get a good, well, it's actually two pictures. So I'll show this first picture. And on the first picture, it shows the two hands on top of each other. But like I said before, I don't believe that this is just bad art. I believe that I believe that it's basically it's like trans, and so you don't show the faces. You don't show Coretta and Martin's face. You just show the hands, and we all know that the hands with the Transformers are dead giveaways. You know, what big hands you have, the better to grab you with, my dear. But as you look at this statue, there's a man hand and supposed to be a woman's hands. But I believe this is just an ode to the trans community. This is something that they did on purpose. You know, MLK's speechwriter was from the LGBTQ community, and he actually wanted to come out. He wanted King to come out with speeches about the LGBTQ, but King wouldn't do it. But this is what I believe this whole statue is about. And again, there's a flag right here next to the American flag. And one day you're going to see the American flag is going to be gone, and they're going to be waving that trans. It's like a flag. It's like a flag that has all the stuff in it. It has like the trans stuff, has black, brown, rainbow. It's just like this big collective. You know, I have a video that I didn't post yet, but it's basically about the one world government and the global citizen and how they already have a flag for it. The global citizen is the LGBTQ citizen because that's supposed to encompass everything. But the other picture that folks talking about is the backside of it. And I guess the backside of it, is I really don't want to watch this video, but I just want to see the picture if we can find it. See, most folks aren't showing that picture. And to reiterate my point about this sculpture, is that this is the original picture right here. And the original picture, tell me if it matches the sculpture. You see, here goes the original picture right here. And as you can see, it doesn't really match because on the other picture, it doesn't really match what this sculpture is. So the artist intentionally made this thing look like how it looked. And at the end of the day, I believe it was just for the trans community. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, in the future, they're going to tell you that Christ was gay. The Jewish Talmud already says that, and the Torah already says that Adam was a hermaphrodite. So again, they're going to tie back everybody's history to this whole LGBTQ movement. But this is the actual picture, and you can see it doesn't even match the sculpture. So the artist purposefully did this. But I want you to find the one that got all the rave reviews if I could find it. And this is the one right here. Let me see. Hope they show it. Now the sculpture again. This is representing a goodness. It's just hard finding this picture because they're really trying to get rid of it. They're really getting rid of the backside of it because it looks so bad. But it's really a representing a phallic symbol, and it's a phallic symbol, and it's a man and a woman's hands. But again, this is, like I said, this is transgender. This is male and female both, grabbing the phallic symbol. This is the backside of the first one showing the hands like this together. I found a picture that somebody made of Michael Obama. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. And then I saw this thing. I'm gonna show you this clip, this quick thing too, before I get in what I'm gonna talk about. Where is that machete? Oh, here it goes. So you can't see it on on YouTube, but basically, again, phallic symbol, trans formers, all of this. Again, when it came to George Floyd, they made George Floyd Jesus. They made him an angel. They made him a sculpture. His stuff looked normal. Breonna Taylor, her stuff looked normal. But when it comes to MLK, they make his stuff distorted, phallic symbol, trans. And what they're doing is they're going to get rid of all the old heroes. And they're going to give you all new heroes. The new heroes will be the degenerates of society, the Drake Society, the George Floyds, the Jacob Blakes, the Juicy Smolletts. These will be your new heroes. You'll forget all about your Frederick Douglasses, your MLKs, your Malcolm X. All those be done away with. They'll give you a new host of degenerates to idolize and worship. But if you if you guys can see it on IG, I have a picture that somebody did, and they call it the Michael Dade Project. But but anyway, let's get into it. The picture, listen, the picture is funny because let me ask y'all a question though. What's the likelihood of me on multiple occasions calling my wife Michael when her name is Michelle? Like how could that be a Freudian slip? I'm just asking, like, how could I go from my wife Michelle to my wife Michael? I just don't see why I would say. I just can't see it. I just can't see it. But anyway, let me go to. Thank you, Sneakerhead, for the super sticker. Well, right. Carrie, headless, hugging, and doesn't honor MLK at all. So yeah, so exactly. So the point about the thing is you don't see a face. So if you don't see a face, you don't know what it is. This is the purpose of the whole transformer movement is you don't know what it is. Like you look at it, you like, is it a man? Is it a woman? Is it a them? Is it a they? Is it it? Is it a, that's the whole purpose, confusion. So when they show you that MLK sculpture, on one side you see the hands like this, on the other side you see the hands holding the phallic symbol. So yeah, that's the purpose of it. It's just confusion. It's just confusion. But anyway, let me get this off the screen because this picture is crazy. So, We're back on, surviving blackness. And again, MLK got assassinated because he obviously went against the narrative. He went against the grain. Trying to advocate for poor people, because his goal was to have like a million workers march on Washington, where it was just workers of all colors. Now again, MLK was a communist and he was a socialist, but what he was trying to do was too far ahead of his time, because if he had done it back then, it would have united the races, and they weren't ready for that just yet. They want to unite the races in a different way. But you find that most Americans live check to check. Most Americans don't have a savings. Like most Americans are under the same financial constraints, and it's just a travesty that they get on TV and tell you that, like, it's black folks that really believe that all white people are rich. And I said, clearly you didn't go up around white people, because trust me, where I'm from, Sacramento, there are a lot of poor white people I went to school with. I'm talking about poor. Like, the only difference is that when white people are poor, they make it look poor. When black folks are poor, black folks make it look like they're living a good life. That's the difference. Like, when white people are poor, they don't stunt. They don't put rims on the car. They don't try to get jewelry. When white folks are poor, they look, matter of fact, there's commercials being played in Europe right now to help the white people that are here. Let me go to it so I can show you. When I was a kid, you used to see all these white kids in like the Ozarks and, looking bad, looking real bad. So, right, it's poor in every race. But there's a commercial they're playing in Europe right now. Tommy Williams, thank you for the cash out. Let me see, commercial for poor whites. And so what they're doing is that they're making you think that because they can't really substantiate the claim of white privilege, they gotta just put the rhetoric out, the narrative that white people are all successful and rich and have a great life. It's just not true. It is the one thing that's undefeated now is the narrative. It's so hard fighting the narrative, because the narrative doesn't have any. It doesn't have to be backed by anything. It's all emotion. It's all feeling. It's all propaganda. So the narrative is very hard to defeat. I don't see it. But there was a commercial they were playing. I may have to change the title. I see stuff in here about the white slums of South. But anyway, so then when you see poor white people, the person said, well, they deserve it. Or that they're wasting their white privilege or something like that. But again, there have always been poor white people in this country. The majority of people aren't rich. I just don't understand where we get this notion from. I see a title right here, D.L. Hewley, poor white people in rural areas can't blame blacks and Mexicans. Like, it's just, so at the end of the day, it's not about poverty, it's about a narrative. I don't see the commercial. But anyway, the title of today's, I don't know what we're going to call it, is The Blatrix, the Exodus. Now, you all know that in the Bible, only two people made it to the promised land. Two people. And that is Aaron and Caleb. Aaron and Caleb made it to the promised land. I'm on YouTube, my bad. I'm on YouTube. I'm putting it up right now. Only two folks made it to the promised land. Remember I said that the curse was not segregation, Jim Crow, slavery. The curse was destruction. And all the children of Israel got destroyed but two. They're not gonna teach you this in church because they want you to believe that you got something coming that you don't. But let me see if I can. Joshua and Caleb were the two spies who brought back a good report and believed that God would help them succeed. They were the only men from their generation permitted to go into the promised land after the time of wandering. If we read the scriptures, most of the people, all of them got destroyed. So we're talking about this so supposed curse, but we can go to the scriptures. They got destroyed. Moses didn't even make it. Moses didn't even make it. Moses, God told him don't use the staff, he used it anyway. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find that scripture. I can't find that scripture, but in other words, I'm looking for it, but the children of Israel, yeah, my bad. It was Joshua. I'm sorry. Joshua and Caleb. I'm sorry. My bad, Kuhim. He struck the rock, disobeying God. But all of the children of Israel, none of them made it to the promised land. None of them. None of them made it to the promised land. So you got to ask yourself, what is the curse? What is the curse if none of them made it to the promised land? What's the curse? That is the curse. It's destruction. And like I said last time, what black folks are going through is not a curse. It's just not. Destruction is the curse. Let me see. Okay. Numbers 20, chapter 6. Chapter 6. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye into the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered in congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch ye water out of the rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring the congregation into the land which I have given them. And so, in other words, Moses was supposed to speak. We go back to chapter Moses was supposed to speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And again, he was not supposed to use the staff. And so he spoke, like I said earlier, he wasn't supposed to use that staff. He's supposed to speak to the rock. Instead, he hit the staff with the rock because the people were used to, again, seeing the rod. So anyway, again, disobedience is what caused everybody to suffer. Even Moses being obedient, his opportunity, because again, this was the final test for Moses, was to be obedient down to the very end. It's not that you follow God all the way up until the last test and then you fail and you're good. That's not how that works. Moses was not supposed to use that staff to hit that rock. And he hit that rock with that staff. He's supposed to speak, and it was supposed to happen because the people were fixated on an object, him using an object to do stuff. No, this is supposed to glorify God. There's no objects. No objects. That's why the Messiah was touching people. Ain't no objects. Ain't no grandiose show. By your faith ye are healed. Who touched my garment? So at the end of the day, disobedience brings a curse about you. It's not white people. It's not the system. It's none of that stuff. It is disobedience. And the curse is death and destruction. So again, the children of Israel did not make it to the promised land at all. So that means we're talking about millions of people were destroyed from being disobedient. That's the name of the game. So black folks today are not suffering because of white people. Black people are suffering because they are disobedient. But not just disobedient, black folks are blasphemous because black folks say we are the chosen people and they're disobedient. White folks are just white. Mexicans are just or Hispanics just Hispanics. Asians just Asians. Black folks say we are the chosen people and we're going to be disobedient. It's too much blasphemous stuff to take place. That's a good point. You've taken to a deeper context. Plank 7:7 says, we receive God through his word. God wanted to illustrate this speaking to Moses so he would speak to his congregation. They were to receive the word of God. 100% correct. And so we see, again, the people being focused on something. That's why they have the image of the cross in the church so you can look at something. There should be no crosses in the church. There should be no decapitated heads of Jesus hanging around somebody's neck. All this stuff is imagery and idolatry because it gets the people to focus. Once people see something tangible, they'll start thinking they can do it by tangible means. And so all this stuff is pagan. All of it. All of it. We should walk into church and there shouldn't be no images. It shouldn't be any crosses, none of that stuff. We should be going to church and it should strictly be about the word of God. Now, if you got scriptures everywhere, that'd be different. But the church should really be about the word of God, period. Right. You can't be an abomination to God and a chosen people at the same time. And I'm going to show some, and keep in mind, you all, I get tagged in a lot of stuff. I get tagged in all the stuff that's quote unquote supposed to prove that America's really racist. But what it actually proves is, you know what? Let me find this. Let me find this if I have this. I got it, y'all. I got it. I just want to play this for you. And again, intent matters. Why you are doing something matters. Let me find this young lady talking. I call her the California Queen. Oh man, it's not. I can't. Let me find it. Black woman on plane. And I like this video because she pretty much gives you a summation of oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Y'all probably already seen it. Okay, let's go.
All that black eye. She got all that black hair, all that black eyeliner, with pale face. And that's why she's mad. Is there another bathroom? Everything you have to do. I'm sorry, honey. I'm not doing this.
Okay, excuse me, I need to go find my dress.
Now, don't push me.
Just go to the bathroom and sit down. You need to go to the bathroom. I need to get
She
to my
can't
car,
have
ma'am.
me.
Ma'am, I need to get to
She
my
want me to
door.
go to jail. Y'all see how she antagonizing me?
Valerie.
Y'all see how the lady doing me?
Ma'am.
Look, and then she coming.
You
Look,
need to go to the
all I'm
bathroom.
trying to do is use the
Then
bathroom.
go
What?
to the
What?
bathroom.
The lady is getting aggressive with me.
You're not listening. Go to the
I'm not a
bathroom.
child. I'm grown. I'm trying to use the bathroom. The lady is coming.
I need to
I see
get
the
to my
bathroom.
door, ma'am.
Now she needs to get to her door. Can I get to my bathroom?
No.
What do I gotta listen to?
What?
What I gotta listen to? Are you my boss? You are white privilege. You're not my boss. Sit down. Sit down. Oh, thank you. You're not my boss.
I need to
And
get
you're
to
not
my
my
door.
boss.
To disarm
You're
me.
white privilege. Sit down.
Yes.
You don't have privilege over me.
Oh, I don't.
Thank you. You have
So the lady ends up disrupting the plane. Now we all know on the plane you got to follow the rules. We all know this. This is not nothing that's new. But she immediately takes it to race. You got white privilege. You got white privilege. Now, what's funny is that this situation has nothing to do with race. But as I've said before, anytime a white person holds a black person accountable, it's automatically something that's racist. So in other words, white people can't hold black folks accountable. But if white folks pretty much run the infrastructure of the country, then what we're really saying is that black folks can't be held accountable by the folks that run the country. This is why I say the foundation of all of this is black folks wanting to be disobedient. We go back to the children of Israel, they didn't really want to be free. They wanted to be free to sin and be decadent. Because as soon as they got their quote unquote freedom, they started being wicked and evil. They was worse than the people was in Egypt when they got to quote unquote freedom. So the intent behind the children of Israel being free wasn't even about freedom. It was about the liberty to sin. And this is what black folks are really asking at the core of all this social justice movement is the liberty to sin. But she immediately says white privilege. Let's continue. And for the record, the stewardess does have privilege because she works for the airline. So when you're on the airline's plane, you must abide by their rules. So on that aircraft, she is the authority. I don't know in what world do black folks believe that if a person is white, they can't tell them to do nothing. This is insanity. But meanwhile, this woman do all this running her mouth, but on her job, when her white boss says be here by 6 a.m., she gonna be there at 5:59. The funny thing about this stunt is, on her jobs that she's worked, when them white bosses and supervisors and managers tell her what to do, she complies with no problem at all. Zero problems if she have complying with her boss who was white. Whether she white, female, white, male. But let's continue.
No, but all of a sudden you gotta go back here. You wait for me to get to my bathroom and have respect for me like you've been having.
Call them now.
Call them.
I need
Call
to get
them.
to my door.
Good. And I need to get to my bathroom. So you rate and respect people. You have white privilege and it's not here. It's over with. It's 2020.
Yes, it is.
Wake up. You got a mask on.
Yes, I do.
So you're under the government
supposed to have
too.
one, too.
You're confined. And you don't have white privilege anymore. I'm a queen.
This woman just said, you got a mask on too. You're under the government. You're confined. I'm a queen. This woman just said, you got a mask on. You're under the government. You're confined. I'm a queen. What's funny about this is not an anomaly. This is how most black people really think, is that white people don't have the right to tell them what to do. But I would say it's not about race, though. You're supposed to respect authority. And when I say respect authority, if you're on a plane, you have to respect the stewardess. If the stewardess has to get back to where she got to get to, then get out the way. This woman is obstructing this woman's job under the guise of racism. And this video went viral. This video went viral, and black folks was hooting and hollering about this video, cheering, celebrating it. This video went viral, and black folks condoned this in the millions. You're under the government. You're confined. I'm a queen. And she got a mask on too. And listen, y'all be saying like this stuff is crazy and all this, but y'all be saying it, but I talk to people and people agree with this mess. I'm telling you, people agree with this. When she said I'm a queen and you white privilege, black folks is all ears because she said the right buzzwords. White privilege is a buzzword. White privilege it's a buzzword. But anyway, let's continue. And this is entitlement. Because she's saying I'm a queen, but she will not list what qualifies her being a queen. Like I said, the foundation of all these movements, whether it be the Moors, Hebrew Israelites, the Black Power conscious, the freedom, social injustice, all this stuff hinges upon pride, ego, and narcissism. Let's continue.
California. She was from a black queen.
Okay, well, I need
You
to
don't
get to my
talk
door.
because you She's white privilege anymore. You're under the
you're
government
supposed to have
too.
one, too.
You're confined, and you don't have white privilege anymore. I'm a queen. California. She was from a black queen.
Okay, well, I need
You
to get
don't
to my
talk because
door
you
to
so
decide.
privileged that you got to get in somebody else and tell them you're not listening. I don't have to listen to you.
Then go to the
You
bathroom.
you don't run me. You go to the bathroom. You shut up and stay in your lane. You have nothing to do with this, little girl. I'm not talking to you. Listen to your mama. She should have told. I know you don't care. You so grown.
Ma'am, I need to get to my door
Okay,
to
thank
disarm
you.
it.
And I need
use
to
the
get to the bathroom.
bathroom.
Like I said, y'all don't run people. You don't run America. You run yourself. So get off your little mentality that you better than somebody, because you're not. Thank you. Yeah, huh? That's what I say. See this little shit right here? This whole little mentality. But you need to understand, you don't run America no more,
Everyone
sweetheart.
seated at this
So,
time.
that shit over
Take
with.
your
Call the police.
seats
You
now.
don't run me. And guess what? When I was 14, they said, oh, you people are so the same. And I slapped the shit out that white bitch when she told me that all y'all white people are so the same. And that's I got off that bus in Richmond, California. So you can think all you want to. All y'all people is all the same. That's what y'all teach in your house. But black people don't teach that hate in our house. You need to understand that. Yeah. Yeah. We don't teach hate in our house.
Well, first, let me say this. Black people don't teach hate in their house is an absolute lie. That is a lie. Black people dislike white people not based on truth or facts. Black people dislike white folks based on a narrative, propaganda. Black folks don't even interact with white people enough for it to even be a problem. America is very much segregated. So there's not even enough interaction for it to even really be a problem. So black folk not teaching hate in their house is a lie because the stats don't reflect that. Highest abortion rate, highest homicide rate, least educated, least likely to get divorced. I mean married, most likely to get divorced. Like it's too many, most unhealthy. It's too many statistics that the black folks fall victim to say they're not hate taught in the house. If it ain't hate being taught, it's show ignorance being taught in the house. Surely it's ignorance. This woman is telling this girl to be quiet because she's white. This woman is telling the stewardess, I don't have to listen to you because you're white. Now, do you think this is something she turns on and off? You think when it comes to a man, she don't listen to a man? Like, this ain't about race. This kind of mentality is not about race. This is about entitlement. And this is actually really a privilege. Because you best believe, if I was on a plane and I did this, they coming to get me ASAP. And it's not because I'm what they will perceive to be a black man. It's because with a man, the threat is escalated. It's even a privilege being a woman because when a woman is doing something, nobody's taking her serious. If I stand up and do all this, folks gonna feel threatened. They coming to get me. And so, again, she's in here and her whole foundation for this is you all are white. That's her whole argument. You're white. Now imagine Kamala getting on TV reinforcing this. Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Beyonce, Lizzo, the three-headed dragon at BLM. Imagine Maxine Waters, Cori Bush. All these women from the black community support this nonsense. All of them. Oh, no, we don't. Yes, they do. Anybody with a platform or position is pretty much going to support this. Because they're going to say that she was just trying to use the bathroom. Let's continue.
Y'all teach hate in y'all house. Y'all narcissists. But you ain't gonna play that shit with me, yes. Because I'm not a slave. I never came from Africa. I'm an indigenous person to this country. You shut up. Let me tell you instead of what your mama taught you. Let me tell you the truth. I'm the queen in this motherfucker. You understand me? You came from my color. Black make every color. You understand me? Black make every. Your people are going extinct. And
This is what happened to the chosen people. Right here. This right here. What do y'all think would happen if we woke up tomorrow and black folks were in charge? What would happen? What do y'all think would happen if tomorrow black folks were in charge? The same black folks that got tricked by BLM, the same black folks that got tricked by MLK, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, the same black folks got tricked by Obama, the same black folks being tricked by everybody black that's against them, that's put in a position of power. What would happen tomorrow if black folks were in charge? Tricked by Joe Biden. What would happen to black folks if tomorrow black folks were in charge? Now, if we go to Africa, since y'all want to claim Africa, if we go to Africa, how is Africa was all Africans? What happened? All them Africans in Africa, what happened? You mean to tell me white people had to travel for months to get to Africa? So it's almost impossible to invade Africa because the trip is so long overseas. It's just too, it's a suicide mission. So how was white people and now Asian people able to conquer Africa? A whole continent, the largest continent in the world, filled with quote unquote black folks. Y'all want to claim Africa? How was Africa able to be conquered? Plank said Israelites gone wild. Exactly. The purge. Everybody knows that if black folks were in charge, everybody gonna be afraid. Because everybody knows what's gonna happen. It's over. Forget a nuclear bomb, just put black folks in charge. Forget a nuclear bomb, just put black people in charge. That will cause more destruction than any nuclear weapon could. We have a question here. Somebody asked, so you're saying only black people who are conservative are the only black leaders? Well, let me ask you all a question. Give me a liberal black leader that's good. Can someone give me a liberal black leader that's good? I'll wait. And I'm open. I've been to Africa, been to about 4 countries. They don't claim y'all. They don't care about no slavery story. Listen, they are very unsympathetic to your plight and cause in America. Just give me a black leader that is liberal-minded, that is good for the black community. I'm waiting. Well, let me help you out. Let me help you out. Maxine Waters is a liberal. Is she good? Obama is liberal. Is he good? Kamala is liberal. Is she good? She ain't even black. But Kamala Harris is liberal. Is she good? All the black leaders had liberal ideologies, bro. So that means none of them was good then. You proving my point. You just proved your own point. Senator Warlock, liberal. Is he good? Just give me a liberal-minded black person that was good. MLK was a communist. So just give me one. AOC, Ilhan Omar. Just give me a black, liberal-minded person that was a good leader. We can. Now I give you some conservative ones. Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Ben Carson. I can give you some conservative ones. I can give you some conservative, quote unquote, black folks that were good leaders that y'all don't even speak about, don't even care about. Even MLK, even Malcolm X was conservative. Even Malcolm X was conservative. And y'all love him. Y'all said Clarence Thomas was a sellout, but then he said that the snake bites was unconstitutional. Y'all told me that Clarence Thomas was a sellout, and then when it came down to it, he said no to the tyranny. All your liberal blacks said yes. Thank you so much, Jahan, for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But again, just give me. This man said Frederick Douglass had a liberal ideology. Do you see why black folks got destroyed? Do you see why? Do you see why when it comes to the moment of truth, they lie? This is black culture. This ain't race, this ain't color. This is black culture. How in the world could Frederick Douglass be liberal when he literally was advocating for black people to have land over here in America? When he literally advocated for a man to be able to work and get his own. What in the world are you talking about? He's just making stuff up. How is Frederick Douglass liberal when he whooped his master with the whip? Y'all getting whipped by white liberals today and don't do nothing. They just lie. Black folks just lie. How in the world could Frederick Douglass be a liberal? Talking about social issues don't make you a liberal. What makes you liberal is blaming somebody else for the plight you are facing in the world. That is a liberal mindset. Is that you are a victim. That is a liberal mindset. They just lie. Black folks just lie. They don't listen. They don't care who around. Anything to keep the race narrative alive, black folks would just lie. That man said Frederick Douglass was a liberal. Being liberal is wanting the Transformers to read to your children in school. That is liberal. He was a social justice warrior. Look at this. Boy, listen. When I tell you, God told Moses, get out the way so I can destroy him. This is why. This is why. Listen, I read that Bible and I understand why God was the way he was. Because if I had to rule over black people, I probably would have started over about 3 or 4 times. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would have did a flood. I would have did a fire. I would have did a earthquake to swallow everybody up. I would have had about 5 or 6 catastrophes to get out and start over every time. I would have kept starting over. Could you imagine having to be responsible for black people? Could you imagine? Could you imagine had to be responsible for black people. And they'll tell you with a straight face, you ain't real. And they talking to you. Black folks was, let me tell you how flagrant they was. Black folks was literally begging to God for food, got the food, and then worshiped the false idol. Black folks would beg God for food, God give them the food, then they would turn and worship the false idol. That's how egregious and flagrant black folks are. That's how flagrant black people are. Black folks will vote 100% Democratic and then go to the Republicans with demands. Black folks will vote 100% Democratic and then turn to the Republicans and make demands. Boy, listen, when I tell you, God was like, get out the way. Get out the way. Let me destroy them. You mean to tell me y'all done begged me to free you? You done begged me for provisions. I done gave you all the Pharaoh's gold, and y'all still gonna turn and worship a false idol? Man, let's continue. Listen, if I'm God, I would have started over about 6 or 7 times. I'd have started over. The Old Testament would have been ugly. It would have been, the chapters would have been the flood, the earth, Adam and Eve, it would have been the eviction, the flood, the fire, the earthquake, the pit. I might have went down the list, but mine would have been cold. I would have played with y'all. I would have played. I'd have been striking down. You ain't getting no laws. You ain't getting no commandments. You getting fire and brimstone. That'd have been my thing. Fire and brimstone. Let's continue.
That's why you're mad. You can't procreate, make ever your in this motherfucker. You understand? Let me tell you instead of what your mama taught you. Let me tell you the truth. I'm the queen in this motherfucker. You understand me? You came from my color. Black make every color. You understand me? Black make ever. Your people are going extinct. And that's why you're mad. You can't procreate. That's what eugenics was about. That's what eugenics, the Darwin theory, because y'all know the truth. I've been waiting to say this. I've been waiting to say this all my life. You're mad.
And there you have it. I've been waiting to say this. So that means she done kept this inside. She been waiting to tell a little white, hold up. And this is a white girl. This ain't even an adult. This is like a white teenager. She said, I've been waiting to say this all my life, and she picked a child. I told you that black culture breeds cowardice. The person on this Instagram, as soon as you present the truth, they just lie. It's cowardly. Instead of just saying all the liberal black leadership is compromised and led us astray, instead of just saying that, they gonna say they all been liberal. Heathen. But she says, I've been waiting to say this all my life. She been holding this in. She been on her job. She been holding it in. She been in public. She been holding this in this whole time. Now, you know she been holding it in, her life being chaotic. We can all agree that if she's been holding this in, her life has been filled with chaos. Because you can't walk around with this much passion and not be able to express it. That's why she picked the most inopportune time to express it on a plane. Can you please sit down, ma'am? Please. So we can take off. Let's continue.
Because only black people are theory, because y'all know the truth. I've been extinct. And that's why you're mad. Black make every color. You understand me? Black make ever. Your people are going extinct. And that's why you're mad. You can't procreate. That's what eugenics was about. That's what eugenics, the Darwin theory, because y'all know the truth. I've been waiting to say this. I've been waiting to say this all my life. You're mad because only black people have the gene to procreate. And y'all know the truth. You come from me. A black person can make any color in Africa white with blue eyes and blonde hair, just like you. Have a twin, one my color and one your color. It's called Esau and Jacob. You be quiet.
It's called Esau and Jacob. It's look how much happened in the Bible after Esau and Jacob. Just think about what happened in the Bible after Esau and Jacob, and that's what everybody goes to. This same mentality is prevalent when it comes to talking about racism. They always point to the past. You can't name me a person today that has actually really experienced racism. When I say racism, I mean somebody tell you to your face, you can't do this because you are black. You can't live in this neighborhood. You can't buy this car. You can't go into this establishment. Name me somebody that has experienced white person saying you can't do it and it gets supported. Now they might do it, but they're gonna get sued. Tell me who's experienced racism and they got supported. I'm asking, who experienced actual racism? Where you were denied something based on the color of your skin, not your low credit score, not your lack of qualifications, that you were denied something simply because you were black. Again, context matters. This woman is going on some kind of tirade for what? The stewardess asked her to sit down so she can get back to her spot on the plane. Now, white people are experiencing, you're right, racism. Because a white person can't get on TV and say, I don't believe in all this propaganda. A white person today in America cannot get on TV and say, I don't believe in all this race propaganda. They're canceled. They're canceled. A white male that is a Christian that owns a gun is demonized. These are facts. He's demonized. Let's continue.
Yeah, for real. And I got the promise to my people. And you mad. Because the promise is coming. You understand me? You can take me to jail. You're mad. Go ahead. Now let me let my people know the truth on this motherfucker. Esau and Jacob, you mad because the promise is coming to my people and you think we stole the birthright? But it's, yo, shut up, bitch. It's coming to us.
She said, let me talk to my people. She said, the blessing is coming to my people. With Esau and Jacob, y'all thought we stole the birthright. No, she's not drunk. She's just privileged. This is what real privilege looks like. You see what happened? See what the media did was the media told you that if a white person disagreed with someone that was black, that was called privilege. That's not privilege. Being on a plane, holding everybody up is a privilege. These folks allowed her to give them this watered down, broke history lesson without nobody put their hands on her, nobody touched her. No, they letting her speak freely and talk crazy the whole plane. That's called privilege. If a white person would dare stand up and do this, they would have been tackled and been called racist and been on CNN, MSNBC. They'd have made a movie about it. Not snakes on the plane, white folks on the plane. Y'all know it and I know it. This is privilege. You can hold up an entire plane because you feel a certain type of way. That is the epitome of privilege. Even the stewardess can't do her job because you feel a certain type of way. That's called privilege. Calling people out their names, talking about Esau and Jacob, the blessing coming to my people. All this is entitlement, privilege, pride, ego, I'm a queen, bow down. All this is not, I'm telling you, the foundation of all of this stuff is that black people are better. That is it. Black people have the moral high ground in every situation. Let's continue.
Coming to us. You understand me? You can't do nothing about it. Yo, shut up, bitch. It's coming to us. It's coming to us. You understand me? You can't do nothing about it. That's why y'all so mad. But this whole corona shit is all about is that God is coming back for his people. And I don't give a damn.
She said God is coming back for his people. What has this woman said that's godly? What has this woman said that is godly? How we go through all that and now God's coming back for his people as it pertains to the Peter pandemic? Let's continue.
And when it comes, y'all gotta get this racist shit out of here. Because if you don't, you can't accept the Lord Jesus Christ. And I don't give a damn. That's what it's all about. Because he looks like you and he looks like me. That's what he looks like. I'm tired of it. She gonna get it. They think I got so much white privilege to tell people what to do, but she need to understand California is a black queen. And
now, when the police show up, she say she tired. What's she tired of? Let me ask y'all a question. What are white people doing to black people that got them tired? Tell me. If I walk me through a day in the life of being black in America, what are white folks doing to make your day so difficult? When you get in your car in the morning, are white folks standing in front of your front door so you can't go to work? Are white folks putting sugar in your tank? Cutting your brake lines? Are white folks jamming up traffic on purpose, making you late? Are white folks barricading the door at your job so you can't get in? Are white folks shutting down the place so you can't get nothing to eat at lunch? I mean, what are white folks doing? What, in the average day of a black person's life, what are white people doing to them? Y'all ain't going to places y'all ain't going to the trailer parks. Y'all ain't going hiking to the mountains. Y'all ain't going to the rivers. Y'all ain't going to the beaches. Y'all ain't going none of the places white folks go to. Y'all ain't in their backyards when they gardening and doing all that stuff. Y'all ain't out when they camp. Y'all ain't nowhere that white folks all around. Y'all ain't going to the white bars. Like, what are white people doing to black folks? I just don't see it. What are they doing? Carrie said, existing? Right. This woman says she's tired. What are you tired of? Listen, if you are this tired of white people, then why wouldn't you move to Africa then? Or the Caribbean? Why wouldn't you just move? Just leave. If America is this difficult, then just leave. But you know, in Jamaica, let's put it this way. You can go to any Caribbean country, and if you pull this stunt, they knocking your head off. Not no white folks. Folks look just like you. Wagwan. They gonna knock your head off. The folks that look just like you. You hold these folks in the quote unquote black countries, they have zero tolerance for foolishness. Go to Africa and do this. They'll take you off the plane piece by piece. You white people are the most patient people on the planet. You can't do this in Singapore. You can't do it in Malaysia. You can't do it in Tijuana. You can't pull this stunt. You can't do it in Russia. You can't pull this stunt nowhere else in the world but America. They will knock your head. The people will do it. The passengers will get by their seat and drag you off the plane. You can only do this in America with patient white people. White people are the most patient people on the planet because they allow her to do this. White folks sat there and allowed her to do this. This stunt pull right here, do this stunt right here in South Africa and see what happens. Do this stunt in Nigeria. They would knock your head off and throw you off the plane with your luggage. Bye. Let's continue.
That's who I am. Tell people what to do, but she need to understand California is a black queen, and that's who I am. I will.
She said she got to understand that California is a black queen, and that's who I am. Has she displayed any queen-like qualities today? No.
I don't have a problem. She laughing is funny, but she need to understand and respect a queen when she see one in her face. Bow down, bitch, because your eyes is recessive. I got the dominant gene. I took all. I got A+, and all of it. That's right. I got the bow down, bitch. She laughing is funny, but she need to understand and respect a queen when she see one in her face. Bow down, bitch, because your eyes is recessive. I got the dominant gene. I took all. I got A+, and all of it. That's right. That's right. It's right. Everything. Everything. A+. You got the recessive gene. I got the dominant gene. The brown eyes and skin is dominant over the blue eyes. It's recessive, bitch. I'm very smart. And you're mad. She got all that black.
She closed it out by saying, I have the dominant gene. You have the recessive gene. I got an A+ in genealogy. I got the dominant gene. You got the recessive gene. I got an A+ in genealogy. You're mad. The blue eye is recessive. The brown eyes and brown skin is dominant. I'm going to say this again. if a black person procreates with another race of people that's not, heavily melanated, the first thing that goes is the skin. So the skin is not dominant. If a black person gets with a Japanese person, the skin color is gonna leave. So the skin is not dominant. Dominant means it stays. It's not dominant. I'm sorry. The hair texture changes. The skin, everything changes, so it ain't dominant. Dominant means remains. Dominant don't mean change. Dominant means it's the prevalent, and it's not. It's not. Let's continue.
It's racism. That's right. And I think we have to call this is cultural erasure. We've seen it happen before. When black people were brought from Africa over here, forced to be here, they erased our culture from us. They took our religion away. They took our names away. They took our heritage, everything that related us to Africa. They took it away and replaced it with Western culture. That's what you're doing right now in education. When you look at the AP classes that are taught right now in the state of Florida, you have Chinese language and culture, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, and Spanish. But you can't have African American studies. I have a huge problem with this. And this is a course that was created and cultivated with certain expertise and experience. Henry Louis Gates Jr. was a part of this. This isn't just some thing that they threw together at the last minute. It is put together to teach you about us and who we are through arts and literature, as you were saying, science, civil rights, political science, geography. There's so much more to it. And if every other culture can be taught except for black culture, that's racist.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's racism.
That's
and
right.
I think
Again, what has all of this African American studies done for black people? What has it done? Show me when you've ever been taught African American studies and they've told you about the bad people in African American history. Show me where you were taught African American studies and they showed you the good and the bad. We can all agree that there were bad African Americans throughout history, right? So why would African American studies not give you the both perspectives, the good and the bad? If it's not biased, if it's just about history, if it's just about science and geography and all this stuff, then why wouldn't they show you the good and the bad? How is it African American history is only filled with good people? It's only filled with the morally righteous. It's only filled with the benevolent. How is it out of everybody else's history, African American history only has good people in it? Much like LGBTQ history. What has been the purpose, or not the purpose, what have been the results of black folks in America learning about African American history? Just tell me, what has been the results? Has it made people more tolerant, more understanding? Has it made black folks want to do better? Has it made white folks want to give up? Like, what has it actually done? It's done absolutely nothing. It's done, right, Rico, it's filled with communism. That's all it's been. It's a one-sided narrative that says black people are morally in the right. Period. It's a one-sided narrative. Black folks know their history. The Democrats tell black folks every day, you were a slave. You are oppressed. The Republicans are bad. The conservatives are bad. Donald Trump is bad. Black folks know their history. You were slaves. He's brought over from Africa. First of all, let me say this. America did not strip away the quote-unquote Africans' cultures. America went to Africa and purchased slaves. They were already stripped. Slaves were already stripped of who they were. When you get captured, you ain't an Ashanti warrior, you a slave. So America didn't go to Africa taking slaves. America went and purchased slaves. This is a false narrative. Why is America the only country getting penalized for buying all these slaves in Africa when clearly Africa was colonized by the Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, everybody? Everybody was a part of the slave trade. It was called a slave trade. The way they traded spices, the way they traded goods, furs, the way they traded all this stuff around the world, so were slaves traded to all around the world, through every country. Why is America only getting a bad rap? The Arabs are part of the slave trade. It's slavery in China now. What are we talking about? African American studies is some BS. There is no such thing as an African American unless somebody came from Africa or America and had dual citizenship. That ain't happening. Slaves were bought from Africa, and there was a slave trade. You mad at America, but not the Middle East. You mad at America, but not Africa. You mad at America, but not everybody. Is ridiculous. African American studies have done nothing for black people. Black folk, with all the history black folks know, black folks still don't own nothing. Still don't control nothing. What about Black Wall Street? What about it? What about Rosewood? What about it? Why didn't y'all rebuild Black Wall Street? Why didn't y'all rebuild Black Wall Street? Why didn't y'all rebuild Rosewood? Harlem was the first black middle class. They didn't tear it down. They didn't tear Harlem down. So why didn't y'all rebuild Black Wall Street? Why didn't y'all rebuild it? Black folks brag about being so resilient, so strong, powerful people, all this stuff, and y'all couldn't rebuild Black Wall Street? Y'all couldn't rebuild rope? Like, my question, why didn't y'all rebuild it? If somebody tore down a George Floyd statue, y'all rebuild it. If somebody tore down the George Floyd statue, y'all would rebuild it. So why didn't y'all rebuild Black Wall Street? Why didn't y'all rebuild Rosewood? Right, Tiana. Some more great conservative black leaders. Thomas Sowell. It's slavery going on in the world today. And black folks talking about slavery from 200 years ago. It's insane to me. It's slavery going on right now. And black folks talking about 200 years ago. Let's continue with Black Wall Street.
Some African American communities are prospering, like the residents of Greenwood, a suburb of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here, former slaves were given land after the Civil War, and this rare footage shows the thriving town they built. A remarkable Baptist pastor named Solomon Sir Jones is the pioneering filmmaker. His footage was lost for more than 50 years. Jones captures the bustling life of Greenwood, which could be any American small town. But Tulsa's whites don't like what they see. But Tulsa's whites don't like what they see. In May 1921, after a black man is accused of assaulting a white woman, a white mob rampages through the city. For a night and a day, they loot and burn Greenwood. A Fox News crew captures the only surviving footage. It is the bloodiest racial massacre in American history.
So, I listened to some firsthand accounts, and the lady was talking, and she said, I'm trying to find the video. She said they came in the house. I was cooking for my children, and they came in the house and they said, you got to leave. She said, I'm cooking. So they got mad and they tore up the child's piano, but she kept cooking. So I said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me 2 white men bust in your house with guns and axes, your children are there, and you ain't afraid? Hold on. 2 white men, 2 racist white men bust in the door. You got to get out of here. We're going to burn the house down. And you keep cooking. I don't know. I'm telling you what the woman said. The woman said she kept cooking. Like they wasn't even there and they got mad. So when I think about all of the history that's been fabricated and falsified and used for propaganda, based on that woman's story and based on Fox News capturing the aftermath of the Tulsa massacre, Fox News captured it. Based on Fox News capturing and the lady's testimony and black folks never rebuilding it, I'm starting to question the whole thing. I do. Because I know anytime Hollywood uses something, it's already falsified. Remember The Woman King? Same type of thing. They'll say based on true events. That could be anything. Anyway, what's up, Lil Key Reacts? Carrie Janine said, I grew up in Oklahoma and I am surprised I never once heard of this incident. Listen, all I'm saying is this. A lot of this history is narrative based. It ain't really based on factual stuff, man. I'm telling you. These folks said it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to play it again. Watch this.
Captures the... For a night and a day, they loot and burn Greenwood. A Fox News crew captures the only surviving footage. It is the bloodiest racial massacre in American history.
Y'all heard it. Fox News. So Fox News was around in 1921. Y'all know that? Did y'all know that Fox News was around in 1921? Yeah, right, Sundaya, like Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was a secretary at the NAACP. They made us believe that she randomly got on the bus and got harassed. They purposefully picked Rosa Parks because they said because she was fair-skinned, they was not going to put their hands on her. No, wait a minute. I thought white people were racist. I thought white folks was racist and they didn't care about none of that. I thought if you light-skinned, I thought you had a quarter, I thought if you had a drop of black blood and you was black. So why would the NAACP think that these white folks wouldn't put their hands on Rosa Parks because she was fair-skinned? If white folks are racist, what difference do it make to them? Black is black. One drop is black. I know she wasn't the first one. I'm saying it wasn't the fact she was the first one. It was the fact that it was orchestrated. They said, we're going to use this woman to do it. She looks like this. They're not going to put her hands on her, and so on and so forth. It was orchestrated. It was staged. If you can't tell me on one hand white folks are racist, but on the other hand they don't pick on light-skinned black people. That's crazy. MLK wasn't dark-skinned. They originally went to Harry Belafonte and asked him to be the leader of the civil rights movement. Therefore, their first choice was an actor, Harry Belafonte. He said no. Just to let y'all know, the whole civil rights movement was a setup. They went to an actor to lead it. He said no. Why did they pick Harry Belafonte? Because he was a famous black actor who was good looking and he spoke well. He would be used to easily guide black folks into destruction. So they got the next best thing. They got a child prodigy. They got a pastor, Martin Luther King. Great speaker. Same intent. You said, Blanche, are you really Indian? I am. I've been to Africa. And I asked them specifically on multiple occasions, am I African? They all told me no. So I'm going with the people said. I'm not going what Joe Biden them said. I'm not going what Black Lives Matter. I'm going what the people said. They said you ain't. One girl told me, she said, I can look at your eyes and tell you that you ain't African. I can look in your eyes and tell you. Anyway, so yeah, I'm Indian. Yeah, his name wasn't even Martin. You're right. It wasn't even Martin. Them Africans do know. Teach about marriage according to Yah versus Rome. I guess. I can do that. Right. America never colonized Africa. The irony of America getting a bad rap, and they're one of the few countries that did not colonize Africa. That's what's funny. Well, I was being sarcastic, Doug. I was being sarcastic. I'm not African, but what I was saying. Indians are from India, true. That was a setup too. Do y'all think Columbus sailed around the world and got lost? Honestly. Do y'all think Columbus was going to India and wound up in America? Honestly. Do y'all believe it? Does anybody believe that Columbus, if you go research, he got commissioned by the Queen, like it was a lot of money put behind Columbus. Do y'all think that Columbus had all this money put behind him, had navigator, cruise, ships, map, and he was going to India, but he wound up in America? Does that even make sense to y'all? Does that even make sense? Don't even make any sense. How do you get that lost? Do you know the months? Okay, just common sense. If I'm traveling from Sacramento to LA, it takes me about 5.5 hours, right? 5.5 hours. If I'm driving and I look at my clock and it's been 6.5 hours, I know something's wrong. If I drive for 7 hours, I know something wrong. But on a ship, you driving for weeks and months. So that means you say the trip's supposed to take 4 weeks. We've been traveling 8 weeks. Do you have enough food for 8 weeks? We've been traveling 12 weeks. Do you have enough provisions for 12 weeks? The story doesn't make any sense, especially when you read and look up how much stuff, money, and energy was put behind Columbus doing this trip. It wasn't no, I hop on a boat and roll my way to America. No, a lot went into it. The government, the states, everything was behind Columbus doing this. So my question is, if they were lost, how much provision did they have to sustain themselves? If the trip was supposed to take 4 weeks and it took 12 weeks, that means somebody would have starved and died. Right, Doug. From Sac to LA and then wind up in Tijuana. That don't make any sense. So we can all agree that Columbus could not have been lost heading to America with a navigator. It's not like he did it himself. He hired a navigator and a navigator, ladies and gentlemen, makes this trip all the time. Thank you so much, Lady T. Oh, I would love to be on Jesse Lee Peterson's show. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. But, right. So a navigator is a person that's mastered traveling a certain way. That's why he has the job of being a navigator, because he doesn't get lost. Anybody can they could have hired me to get lost. So it's impossible to believe that Christopher Columbus was sailing and got lost with a navigator. It doesn't make any sense. The whole Christopher Columbus story is, again, fiction. It's a fairy tale. It's a fantasy. This stuff not real. Right. You go from, I'm supposed to be going to LA, but I end up in Vancouver, British Columbia. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. And I got somebody that's made this trip 100 times. I'm with the person that their job is to get me from point A to point B and they get lost. It's absolute foolishness. But we believe it because it feeds into the racist narrative. He was a colonizer. He was racist. In some of his teachings, he was talking about, not some of his poetry, he was talking about going to find the fountain of youth, looking for the holy city. India isn't even the same path as America. Exactly, Shantae. It don't even make any sense. Y'all telling me the man took the wrong trip but had enough provisions and food and everything and water to last. Man, it don't make any sense, y'all. It ain't. I don't believe none of this stuff. Thank you, Lady T, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I don't believe in none of this stuff. It don't make sense. All right, let's go to Pharaoh.
Those empty promises and benign neglect.
And especially those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb, the African American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
The end of Biden's term. That statement will go down as one of the greatest bold-faced lies ever told to the black community by a president. So far, we've watched the Biden administration deliver $31 billion to the Native American community, sign a multitude of executive orders addressing core issues surrounding the Hispanic, LGBTQ, and AAPI community. And let's not forget about that extra $49.5 million Biden threw in for the AAPI community as a little added bonus, nor should we forget about the $4 billion that Biden called for to fix immigration issues by sending that money to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to help decrease violence, corruption, and poverty. Meanwhile, Biden privately told the Congressional Black Caucus, you can forget about reparations, but here goes some George Floyd statues. And I'll even throw in a couple holidays for you. Here's Juneteenth, Hip Hop Celebration Day, Hip Hop Recognition Month, and Hip Hop History Month, just to name a few. Now, if you're really good and help us with the 2022 midterm election, we just might put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. And just to give you a little incentive, starting January of next year, we're going to put Maya Angelou on the back of a quarter. Now, you know what's really crazy about all this? We're only 8 months in on a 4-year term. This is only the beginning. And by the looks of it, Biden doesn't appear to be slowing down with the money and legislation for every other group but black Americans. This past Tuesday on September 7th, Biden called for $6.4 billion to help with resettling vulnerable Afghans in the United States. President Biden is asking Congress for billions in additional funding to help with natural disasters and aid for Afghan evacuees. The White House wants $24 billion in additional funding to help recovery efforts for the California wildfires and several hurricanes, including Hurricane Ida. Biden administration officials are also asking for $6.4 billion to help with resettling vulnerable Afghans in the United States.
Let me stop there. He hasn't even mentioned all of the billions, the 100 billion going to the Ukraine. He ain't even mentioned the 100 billion going to the Ukraine. He ain't even mentioned all the money sent and the weapons and all the stuff sent to the Taliban. He ain't even mentioned that. He ain't even talked about that. Let's continue.
Money to resettle vulnerable Afghans come as the Biden administration estimates that 65,000 will be brought to the U.S. by the end of the month, and an additional 30,000 would arrive over the course of the next 12 months. This money is certainly critical to make sure that we are fulfilling this bipartisan commitment to our Afghan allies and partners, a senior administration official said Tuesday on a call with reporters. That money includes $2.4 billion for the Defense Department, $1.3 billion for the State Department for help with refugee resettlement, $815 million for
Sleepy Joe's empty promises and benign neglect.
So as we can see, Joe Biden has done absolutely nothing for black people in America, but literally has done something for every single other group. So again, this is why God had to make Pharaoh's heart harden. If God didn't make Pharaoh's heart harden, the people wouldn't leave. Joe Biden gave y'all a week thanks. Thank y'all for getting me elected, and has done absolutely nothing for black people. And black people are still, matter of fact, all he really gave y'all was a snake bite and unemployment. All you all got was a snake bite and unemployment. That's it. Oh yeah, and abortion. You got a snake bite, you got abortion, you got unemployment. That's what Joe Biden gave the black community. And I can't say I feel sad. I'm actually glad. I'm actually happy it happened. So now when this next wave of stuff comes and slavery comes, you all can't blame anybody but yourselves. It's crazy. He didn't even get to the Ukraine money. This was before the Ukraine money. We didn't even, he listened, you all the other folks getting a check. And black folks still sitting there, coming to my page, talking crazy. Joe Biden gave them abortion, a snake bite, and unemployment. Let's continue.
Blacks in our present system. Since not all blacks will be superior, we need to have a government office which will try to get them some sort of equal opportunity.
But it's precisely the government which has been running these schools from which the kids graduate semi-literate.
Today, as a result of this trend laid forth by the civil rights movement that says that because we are black in this country, life must be modified for us. And so ever since the 1960s, we've seen time and again legislation passed under that behest, whether you're talking about affirmative action, whether you're talking about this recent so-called Voting Rights Act that they tried to pass. All these things are part and parcel of the same thing, that life needs to be modified for us because we have a darker colored skin. It's nonsense.
We haven't been able to be people. We haven't been men.
Martin Luther King and that civil rights movement taught us how to complain, how to cry, and how to put all of our faith, our aspirations, our visions, our hopes, our dreams, and what the federal government will or will not do for us. When you look at the Congressional Black Caucus, they're advocating for expansion of welfare, expansion of food stamps, expansion of Medicaid. They're arguing for the expansion of these kind of socialist-esque policies, and their reason is that it will help people of color. And so what they're doing is communicating to black folks in this country that the way that you survive in the West, the way that you survive in a meritocracy is by having life modified for you, because you can't get by otherwise.
Yes. And crack pipes. Abortions, snake bites, unemployment, and crack pipes. What Chado was talking about was he's saying that they're telling you that because you're black, you need help. You need a handout, a hand up, a leg up. You need, we got to change this stuff so we can better fit and accommodate you. So in other words, when it comes to everything that's in this world, we got to put it on a bell curve so that when you all underachieve, you actually really achieve. To me, that's insulting. I would be insulted for someone to say, I don't believe you're adequate enough to do this right here. It's insulting. To me, it's, I would reject it. My mother was alive, she would have said no way. I couldn't imagine a school telling my mother, yeah, we're going to make it to where the class is easier for him. Mom was like, no, you won't. She said, matter of fact, put him in the hardest class. Ma'am, Miss Dorsey Lee, we're going to make sure that your son is able to get good grades. We're going to just modify it. No. That governor of Oregon went in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., and passed legislation that said black and brown students didn't have to meet any kind of requirement to graduate from high school. The governor of Oregon went in the middle of the night and passed legislation that said black and brown students don't have to have any criteria to graduate from high school. There wasn't one protest. There wasn't one march. It wasn't even a word mentioned. Do you know how disgusting and disrespectful that is for them to say We are purposefully putting out uneducated and unqualified people into the workforce in a state that legalized hard drugs. So right after Oregon legalizes hard drugs, like cocaine and meth and heroin, after they legalize it, then they say there's no standard to graduate from high school if you're black and brown. If you're white, there's a standard. If you're Asian, there's a standard. But if you're black and you're brown, no standard. And black folks didn't say a word about it. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Ian. I don't know what to say, man. Thank you so much. They want children to be ignorant, but also you legalizing hard drugs. So really what you want is a whole generation of just addicts so you can control them, drug addicts. And now folks not going to be working for, they won't be working for money, they work for drugs. Let's play this one more time.
Advocating for expansion of welfare, expansion of food stamps, expansion of Medicaid. They're arguing for the expansion of these kind of socialist as policies, and their reason is that it will help people of color. And so what they're doing is communicating to black folks in this country that the way that you survive in the West, the way that you survive in a meritocracy is by having life modified for you, because you can't get by otherwise.
And that's basically it in a nutshell. They're basically telling you every day that you don't meet the standard. And black folks are celebrating this. You don't meet the standard. Oh, I got one of your favorites right here, though. I got one of your favorites.
Rumored that you have more than one wife. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've never been married.
Oh, okay. That wasn't.
But I will have 2 queens.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So is polygamy more realistic?
I think we have to understand that monogamy is not natural to alpha males. This is not only
I'm baited.
That's when you lost me there, man.
This is not only true amongst human beings, even within the animal kingdom.
Okay.
The alphas tend to have more than one spouse. And if you also look at women, as much as they may chide polygyny, many women will date an alpha male with another woman if she's attracted to him. Just look at the amount of women who date married men, but at the same time say they're against plural marriage.
Now, Dr. Umar Johnson, as I've said before, is a fraud. I'm going to play this again. Now, when they compared black folks to monkeys, they said it was racist. But you can be compared to an animal as long as you get to have multiple women. You see the hypocrisy? When they compared black folks to monkeys, it was racist. But you can be compared to an animal if it means you get multiple women. Do you see the hypocrisy? Is this a wise man or a foolish man? What's up, Coy? Is this a wise man or a foolish man? Let's play it again.
Dr. Umar, it's rumored that you have more than one wife. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've never been married.
Oh, okay. That wasn't.
But I will have 2 queens.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So is polygamy more realistic?
I think we have to understand that monogamy is not natural to alpha males. This is not only
I'm baited.
true.
That's when you lost me there, man.
This This is not only true amongst human beings, even within the animal kingdom. The alphas tend to have more than one spouse. And if you also look at women, as much as they may chide polygyny, many women will date an alpha male with another woman if she's attracted to him. Just look at the amount of women who date married men, but at the same time say they're against plural marriage.
So you can see that there's a big push to be polygamous, especially in the black community. I see this being a huge push because if you think about it, that really pretty much puts the nail in the coffin for the black family. Black women get married at 27%. Black men get married at 33%. About 70-some% of black children are born in single-parent households. So pretty much, if you add polygamy to that, it's going to be disastrous. And then add the LGBTQ community coming in, being in charge of black community, it's pretty much the nail in the coffin for the black family. But again, this is Dr. Umar Johnson who wants to lead you all. He wants to be your leader. He wants to be a role model to your children. And he got on TV and said he wants multiple women. Not be married to them, just multiple women. And at the end of the day, this is why God's way is paramount. He's justifying his behavior based on what animals do. And last time I checked, if they called you a gorilla or a monkey, you would say they was racist. So at the end of the day, you got a wise man, you got a foolish man. There are two types of men. So when Charlemagne first came out, he seemed like he had some sense. But the more he talked, you realize he was foolish. Dr. Umar Johnson, when he first came out, I thought he had some sense. But the more he talked, the more foolish he was. The Bible says that the two become one. There's a certain level of commitment you have to one person. You can't give a woman your all twice. You can give one woman your all, and that's it. The next woman gets a piece of your all. So if the first woman got 100, the next woman might get 10. But if she gets 10, that means the first woman got 90. If the third one gets 15, then that means the first one has 75. It doesn't work, so you can't give your all to multiple women. Polygamy is a tool of Satan. Because most men that are into polygamy aren't vetting these women. There's no way. And most men I talk to that even would want to be polygamous like this, they're foolish. It's hard enough dealing with one woman. I couldn't imagine dealing with 4 or 5. It's just insanity. See, back in the day, the king had all these women. He had to deal with them, though he was the king. When they was crying, they didn't cry on his shoulder. When they were upset, they didn't get upset with him. Throughout history, men that have multiple women don't have to deal with the other side of the women. They deal with the women when it comes to the sex. If she going through a mood, he not dealing with her. He with another woman. Yeah, Cynthia G is evil. But anyway, this is Dr. Umar. Is this your king? Yeah, I'll talk about the Sabbath day versus Sunday. And really to me, the Sabbath is, sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday, which pretty much eats up, the weekend. because most of the decadence, I believe, happens on Friday and Saturday. But I'll talk about it because, Sunday is really for Sun Worship Day. Saturday really for Saturn Day, Satan Worship Day. So, but I think it's just very pivotal to where we actually have our Sabbath day. Actually, is beneficial because it basically separates you from the world at its most decadent. It's at its most decadent on Friday night and Saturday. Remember, they even have a slogan, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. So the world is, it's pagan. Well, the lionesses share one alpha lion, but the lions don't live that long. The male lion is constantly under duress because he has to defend all those lionesses. He's constantly having to defend. He got to defend against other lions. He got to defend against other animals. Like it's tough. It's tough being a lion. So at the end of the day, we can compare ourselves to these animals, but when it comes down to it, these animals risk their lives a lot more than we do. But then again, it's foolishness. It's foolish. It's foolish. Yeah, when it came to King Solomon went from, King Solomon prayed for character and wisdom, but not character. So King Solomon said, I'm praying for wisdom to be able to lead the people, but he didn't ask for character because he couldn't. Character has to be built on an individual basis. So Solomon didn't have any character. Solomon ended up being wicked. He was worshiping gods, one in which required children sacrifices. Solomon had 700 women, 700 wives. 2 of them were into devil worship, which should let you know those 2 women that were into devil worship were probably the freakiest. Probably had the best sex. Probably gave him a little menage a trois and all that stuff. I'm just telling y'all, be honest with y'all. We can speak candid. Those 2 women that were worshiping the devil, false gods, probably were the freakiest. So they had his attention the most. And it's subtle. It's subtle. Y'all give him a freak session and then put a little statue in the room. Another freak session, burn a little this in the room. Another freak session. It just gradually, next thing you know, Solomon then put all these false gods and had them facing the holy city. Solomon put all them false gods on the hill, had them facing the holy city, and God had to visit Solomon twice and ask him to stop. Solomon lost the entire kingdom. But not because of the 2 women, not because of the 700 wives, because he didn't have any character. You see, all power does for a man, all power and money does for a man, reveal who he really is. And Solomon's character got revealed. You see, when he asked God for the wisdom, he wasn't as powerful as he was when he had them women. That's another teaching, though. Anyway, thank you again, Ian Moore, for the Mayor for the super sticker. Well, yeah, they say Sunday worship for the mark of the beast. Honestly, I believe they're going to make Saturday the mark of the beast worship. And I'll tell you why. Because Saturday is the true Sabbath day, meaning that it's the last day of the week. So I believe they're going to make that the actual beast worship day because they know that true believers are going to be worshiping on that day or give that day to the Most High. So that's what I believe. That's what I believe, but because Sunday is really already a pagan day. Sunday is pretty much it's the first day of the week on the calendar, but we say it's the last day of the week. It's filled with crosses and again, I'm separating the faith, what we believe in, from the actual pagan symbols. You shouldn't need any symbols. God should be in here. Thank you again, Ian Moore, super sticker. It is wise to fast Friday and Saturday to keep a clear mind and to be still. That has helped me to detach from the worldly pattern of decadence. And that's what I do. I fast Friday, Saturday once a week. And I really fast because I try to make it all about God as much as possible, even to what I'm even consuming. You know, I try to just make it about God. I really want to start doing a 3-day fast once a month. That's my goal. Try to do a 3-day fast once a month. You know, but thank you again, Ian, for the super sticker. I can't believe it. It's crazy. Somebody said, look up the Sunday law. Yeah, they changed it. And this is why I think, because you think about it, Sunday, right? Sunday isn't even the Sabbath day. So to me, having folks worship the beast on Sunday really isn't a huge deal because folks already do the stuff on Sunday anyway. Like Sunday's already a pagan day anyway. So that's what I'm saying. Saturday is really the true Sabbath. So to me, why wouldn't they pick Saturday? Like to me, I think they're gonna use Saturday as the actual Sabbath. I think they're gonna do it. Because to me, when this stuff comes out, they're not gonna care about Sunday. They want to see who's the real believer. You know, most folks are used to going to church on Sunday. You know, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. It could be Sunday, but you know. "7 Days of Noah" documentary. I'm gonna watch it. Part 3. It should be on YouTube, right? Yeah, so basically just water. In a 3-day fast, I've done it before. I've done a 3-day fast before, nothing but water. I did 4 days, I think. Yeah, 4 days. I talked to somebody yesterday I know. He said he did 11 days. So he did 11 days just water. Believe me, you all, you don't need food as much as you think you need food. And he was telling me, he said, by the time he got to the 11th day of no food, he said his dream, he said God was speaking to him so clear. Like he said, it was just like, he said his dreams were so vivid, so clear. He said God was speaking to him so clear. You know, all that. It's not on YouTube. I think it's on Rumble. Okay, thank you. But then he said he stopped because the wife said he was getting too skinny. His goal was 30 days. And I'm going to tell you like this, y'all. You got a woman, if your goal is 30 days, she should be saying 31. Your wife should never come in the picture and shortchange your goals. So he said his goal was 30 days. His wife said stop at 11. No, I'm not going with that. I want to play one more thing before I go. But I just know that now they say, so again, when we fast, right, we aren't fasting from a carnal sense, meaning that experts may say it's not good to do this. No, we fast from a spiritual standpoint because the Bible tells us to fast. And again, you don't need food like you think you need food. Trust me, you don't need. When I fasted for multiple days, I'm not even hungry. So I'm just telling you, you don't need food like you think you need food. Your body is a miraculous and wonderful machine. Most folks don't like fasting because they like to eat. It's probably easier to fast when your diet is kind of bland and food's not that important to you, but we indulge in food. But again, oh, you said that Sunday law will be the mark of the beast. They are using Sunday to rest from the climate, and many will accept it and be deceived. Dr. Orwell's Staten Island SDA Church has Sunday law updates every Sabbath PM. Let me see if I can find this clip I had. I mean, listen, it might be Sunday. I'm not saying it's not going to be Sunday. Just trying to find this guy. Trying to find this guy. Because I saved this video. There was a clip of a guy talking about it. And I thought
We do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children.
That's not it. There was a clip I had. This guy was talking about is climate change in the Bible. Let me try to find this thing real quick. That ain't it. I thought I saved this video. I don't know why it's not on here. This may be it right here. Okay, I might have it right. I might have it. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what he said about it. But yeah, I don't really know. But you know, it may be on Sunday. I don't know. I just believe that the Sabbath day would be the day that they would attack, because technically, folks could still not observe the climate, whatever, on Sunday. But anyway, fasting is for really spiritual purposes. So when we think about fasting, we should be thinking about fasting from a spiritual standpoint. So what we are feeding ourselves instead of food is we're feeding ourselves the word. And we got to trust God when we're fasting as well. Because again, fast is a way to bring the flesh under subjection. So it's more of a spiritual process than it is just a physical one. And we got to trust God on fasting. The Messiah fasted 40 days and 40 nights. So, you know. So that should be the purpose of fasting. And I think if we include God in the fasting, then we'll be okay. A lot of people fast to lose weight, and that's where the problems come in, because they do it from a worldly standpoint. But let me find another thing I wanted to find. Okay, I found it.
I'm running the new Mac OS Ventura, but what's this? The old clutter, those unsorted apps. Should have cleaned it.
What does the Bible say about climate change?
Okay. And I have one more clip, and then I'm done. I'm losing my voice.
About that.
This is a pastor. This is Real Bible Believers. This guy's an excellent teacher. I mean, he's an excellent teacher. But I want to
Where Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
talk about something he said. Hold on.
Revelation 17, the Antichrist kingdom is going to be called what? Babylon. See, that spirit carries on. They're all tied. Nimrod. All the cities have been located and excavated. Although Bible commentators vary on their exact location. And then he mentions Jerome, Eusebius, Cockhart, Michaelis, Kalish, Clericus, Noble, Lang, Kyle, etc. of all these commentators. He says there might be some variations, but at the very least, what they all share in common is they are within 200 miles of Babylon, identifying the area as Shinar. The location of the first Nimrod reincarnated. Who's the one that spread out idol worship from the kingdoms? It's Nimrod. and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria. Now, for some of you who didn't know, when you study Nimrod's history, that's where idol worship came from. How did idols begin? Well, remember, there were those sons of God who came on the earth, right? So then some of that knowledge and that inclination, that longing to go back to Genesis 6, where the gods lived among men, well, they don't have it literally there with them, those gods. So that's why they have to build those gods. Mankind has a tendency to go back to Genesis 6. It's very strange. It's very demonic and weird. So then they created these idols for that one. But in order for these idols, Semiramis argued when she gave birth to a child named Tammuz, and when Nimrod died, accounts say that Shem was so angry at Nimrod that he killed him because of all the wickedness and the perversion that he was doing. I don't know how much of that is true or false, but there were legends and accounts of that one. So when Nimrod was killed, Semiramis argued that when she gave birth to a baby, this is Nimrod reincarnated when the sun came up. And then she judged the pattern of the weather to be December 25th. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so now I stopped it here because I want you to hear this part where he talks about pagan Christmas, but also something else. And I want you to pay attention.
That's why you have to have those shiny glimmers on top of a tree. And that's the reason why there's that's why Christmas is tied, for some of you who didn't know, it is tied to pagan worship. It is tied to basically, you're not celebrating Jesus' birthday, you're celebrating Nimrod's birthday, for some of you who didn't know. So that's what it is. Now, look, I'm not, birthdays, believe it or not, is tied to pagan references too in the Bible, for some of you who didn't know. And we're not going to make a big deal by saying, you know, no, you can't sing happy birthday, all right? So we don't do that way with Merry Christmas. Now, our church, we don't observe Christmas, but sometimes some of the brethren might get together, or they themselves personally might have Christmas.
So let's stop right here. Now this guy, Dr. Gene Kim, is excellent, but notice what he's saying. If Christmas is pagan and birthdays are pagan, then we shouldn't celebrate them. So, if you know, it's hard to say something is pagan, but you can still know we don't celebrate it. You don't need a birthday celebration. You was born on one day. We actually don't need birthday celebrations. If that's the case, we celebrate somebody every day then. Celebrate somebody once a month, if that's the case. Show appreciation once a month. You won't need a birthday after that. That's all it really is. Think about it. What is a birthday? You're celebrating your birth. But really, you're celebrating the birth of a quote-unquote special person, which is really Nimrod. You don't need a birthday. We can appreciate each other once a month. This is your day once a month. Ain't nothing to do with your birthday. But so he's talking right now, and this is what I mean by wise man, foolish man. Let's continue.
We're not against that as long as you don't adhere to something pagan, okay? As long as you're concentrating on using the day to glorify the Lord, then this is something that we can let go, because Romans chapter 14 says days don't matter to the Lord. So as long as you observe it for the Lord's sake, then that's fine. So
even with this, instead of celebrating your birthday, celebrate God on that day. If your birthday is so important to you, then use it celebrating God. Because really the birthday is about the person itself, and it shouldn't be. We can turn every single one of these holidays into a day for God. So Valentine's Day, for God. St. Patrick's Day, for God. Mother's Day, for God. Father's Day, for God. Halloween, for God. We can do that. Change every pagan holiday, is for God. How many folks gonna do that? How many folks gonna celebrate their quote-unquote birthday and give the day to Yah? Not very many. That's what he said right here. He said, you know, y'all can celebrate quote-unquote Christmas if y'all doing it for God. If you give the day to God, you can do it. Otherwise, no. But keep listening.
It's the same thing with birthdays. Some of you didn't know this, but wedding rings, for some of you who didn't know, there are ties to paganism with that one too. Okay? So I'm not going to take off the wedding ring. All right? Yeah, you're not going to. We got some smart guys right here, all right? So I think we lose everybody in our church if I started teaching that.
You heard what he said? He said, wedding rings are pagan, but I'm not taking mine off. Yeah, it's Gene Kim from Berkeley, yes. Yes, it's him. Wedding rings are pagan, but I'm not taking mine off. Now, why won't he pull his wedding ring off? Because of who? His wife. And I just said that your wife should not be the one as your stumbling block. A friend of mine just told me he's supposed to fast for 30 days, but his wife said stop at 11. He knows that wedding rings are pagan, but his wife is going to say keep it on. This is double-mindedness. Even though I think Gene Kim is one of the best teachers out, even though I believe he's a righteous man, when it comes down to something so simple as the wedding ring, something that he knows is pagan, even his wife knows is pagan, she still wants him to keep it because part of that is still the world. This is no different than Lot's wife packing up all their stuff, leaving with Lot, but she still got to turn around and look to see what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the same thing. We'll play it again. Play one more. Let's play it again.
Not against that as long as you don't adhere to something pagan, okay? As long as you're concentrating on using the day to glorify the Lord, then this is something that we can let go, because Romans chapter 14 says days don't matter to the Lord. So as long as you observe it for the Lord's sake, then that's fine. So it's the same thing with birthdays. Some of you didn't know this, but wedding rings, for some of you who didn't know, there are ties to paganism with that one too.
So imagine someone teaching you all not to be pagan, but then practicing something pagan at the same time. This is called being double-minded. This separates the wise man and the foolish man. The wise man says, if it's pagan, I won't have anything to deal with it. My wife got to get over it. She better pray about it. She better fast about it. You see, when you fast, you're not tied to things. This is a benefit in fasting. You don't care about these worldly comforts anymore. That wedding ring is a sign of comfort. Okay, I know he still loves me. He's still respecting him. No, many of men have cheated with their ring on, and women too. So this right here shows you that there is a limit to which Gene Kim will go to. he has limitations. And when it comes to the wedding ring, he's not going to do that. He'll allow that pagan stuff to go in. But you and I know if he allows the ring, he allowing something else. Somewhere, I don't know what it is, but somewhere on the way, he's allowing something else. So if the ring is pagan, he should took it off right then and there. So I'm not wearing it no more. His wife got to deal with it. And take hers off too. We take both of the rings off. Because you don't need a ring to honor your vows between each other. You don't need a ring to show your respect and honor like you got married under to God. It's not what you need your ring for. I guarantee those rings symbolize the rings of Saturn, which is Satan. The ring around Saturn, which is Satan. There's no need to wear a ring, but out of his own mouth, he said it's pagan. So if it's pagan, why are we doing it? Let's continue.
Okay? So I'm not going to take off the wedding ring. All right? Yeah, you're not going to. We got some smart guys right here, all right? So I think we lose everybody in our church if I started teaching that.
You heard what he said? We would lose everybody in our church if I started teaching that. Right, the husband is the ring that keeps the family together, right? This man just said we would lose everybody in the church if we taught that, as if teaching that is wrong. It's the truth. But that lets you know that the folks in the congregation are double-minded as well. The man just said the wedding ring is, and I'm not picking on Gene Kim. I'm not. I'm simply saying that when people are speaking to you, you have to be able to discern this kind of stuff. If the ring is pagan, I ain't wearing a ring. Now the ring, now in the Bible there's this story with the prodigal son, and he gave his ring to his son when he came home. So they wore rings in the Bible, but I don't know how the rings pertain to the marriage. That's something else. You wearing a ring saying that this symbolizes my bond with this woman or with this man is something else. Because that bond should be symbolized by you all's obedience to the Most High. You said, I bet he's jabbed up. He probably is jabbed up. He's in Berkeley, California. He's in the epicenter of wokeness. Although I don't even think he's liberal, but yeah, he probably got. I don't know. He probably got it. The ring is a seal of your soul to Satan. Your marriage is under Satan, not God. But at the end of the day, Gene Kim said, if I taught this stuff, I would lose all my members. So again, there is a limit that he will go when it comes to the truth. You can't be concerned about having a congregation or not. You got to tell the truth. If the ring is pagan, then it's have a day where y'all say, turn your rings in. Let's sell the rings and get the money to the church. I don't know. But if the ring is pagan, it's pagan. If Christmas is pagan, think about it. Look at the name Christmas. That really means Christ more, right? So that technically means that you should be more like Christ on that day. Christmas technically should be about us being like, that should be a day dedicated to walking like Christ. Just based on the name. Not a day of giving gifts, eating, celebrating, having no. If it's called Christ More, then that should be a day where everybody is more like Christ. That should be the best day of the year. And it's totally the opposite. Nothing to do with Christ at all. You said Jack Hibbs is a great pastor? Now listen, I'm not saying that these guys aren't great. I'm just simply saying that I'm showing you double-mindedness. I'm showing you worldly ties. Even in a lesson about separating from the world, he's still connected to the world. This is how deep it is. You can't say the rings are pagan, then the next statement say, I'm not taking mine off. That's insanity. That's the epitome of being double-minded. Right. He's drinking the wine of Babylon by withholding the truth. But he's not. But the crazy thing is, he's not withholding the truth. He's telling the truth. He just ain't doing it. And you know and I know that if he doesn't pull his ring off, so in other words, people base their morality by what's going on around them and who's in the room, who's in charge. So everybody's thinking, damn, I gotta get rid of my wedding ring. And then once he said, I'm keeping mine on, they go, whew, I can leave mine on. Because when he pulls his ring off, he puts the pressure on the congregation. That's leadership. Leadership puts pressure on those that's following to do what's right. If you are truly leading, folks ain't gonna want to follow you. Yes, Pastor Darby, way ahead of his time. He's another one. Or, you're right. You're right, Plank. It could have been the massacre of Christ. It could have been the Christ massacre. Could have been either one. But my point is, we ain't celebrating either way. We ain't celebrating it. So even in the pagan tradition, we ain't even matching what the title of the tradition even is. I think Darby died of a sudden heart attack. I think he was driving and died. He had a heart attack, I think. He had a heart attack. But anyway, I just wanted to show that about with him, and that even as great as he is as a teacher, he's still tied to the world. Still. I'm not condemning him. I'm just simply saying that you can't say the ring is pagan and then say, but I'm leaving mine on. And then say, if I really taught this stuff, I would lose the church. I mean, then you don't really have a church. Thank you, Jaseed. You don't really have a church. Anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in today to this, I don't know what we call it, YouTube. I don't know. But I had some requests about biblical marriage versus worldly marriage, and Sabbath versus Sunday. But again, we got to work on not being double-minded. We got to work on really hearing from God. We got to work on to where we're sensitive to things like this, because most folks won't even think about what he even said. Even listening to him, most folks just be like, eh. Some folks be like, dang, he ain't gonna take the ring off. Because some folks gonna be like, if he takes it off, I'll take it off. Some folks be like, it ain't that important. Some folks will be like, man, I don't want to take it. Like, so it's many different emotions in the room when he's doing this. But the right thing to do is to say, if the ring is pagan, we're not going to do it. if the Christmas tree is pagan, we're not gonna do it. Like, we're not gonna do this pagan stuff. We don't need to. You can literally take every holiday on a calendar and literally give that day to God. You could literally give every holiday and give that day to God. Simple. Simple. It ain't even rocket science. Yeah. The Sabbath starts on sundown on Friday. And again, the Friday night is when the decadence starts for the week. And then Saturday night is when it starts. It usually ends on Sunday morning. Honestly, it'd almost be impossible to observe the Sabbath from sunup to sundown on Friday to Saturday and then go out and be a heathen. Like, so really, I believe in God's design. God pretty much ate up the two most decadent nights of the week, which is Friday and Saturday. That's just my thinking. Okay, Shantae, I'm going to take my email. All right. Somebody said follow the Enoch calendar. Well, listen. I don't know about the Enoch calendar. I gotta look at the Enoch calendar. But as for now, you know, on the calendar they gave us, the last day of the week is Saturday. That's the last day. And Sunday is the first day. So it's funny how they begin and end. They begin the week with sun worship, end the week with Saturn worship. You know. Exchanging of rings in the marriage ceremony. I'm going to do some research. You said Pastor Inglewood, or Pastor in Inglewood. Bishop Omer. You know. Follow the calendar that follows the moon. They told me the moon was fake. Is the moon real? Is the moon even? They told me the moon was fake. I don't know. Is the moon real? I don't know. But anyway, I'll look at the. Even if you get like the Farmer's Almanac, it goes by the moon. The same days. Let me see. Lunar calendar. Let me see. Before I go, let me look it up. Lunar calendar. Lunar calendar. No. The moon is biblical, but they all say the moon is still just because they say the moon's a satellite. It don't mean it wasn't a satellite back then. And it also don't mean that the moon we looking at is the actual moon. They could have switched. We don't again, these people have switched around everything. Because when I was a kid, they said that Pluto was a planet. Now as an adult, it's not. So NASA and all these folks, I don't trust what these folks tell us. I don't. I'm just giving you some conspiracy theories of what they say about the moon being a satellite. I'll look at the Enoch calendar. $364 days. Where's the calendar though? I just want to see the calendar. Oh, so I guess on this, I gotta see a calendar, man. I gotta actually see it because I can't. It's a good website, but I gotta see the calendar though. Let me see images. Let me see. Well, the Enoch calendar is 12 months. I got to look into this. I got to look into it. No. Listen. I'm not saying that the moon is fake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what we could be seeing might not be the actual moon. That's what I'm saying. Just because you see it in the sky don't mean it's actually real. It doesn't mean that. This is a world, this is an illusion too. I'm not saying that the moon isn't real or the sun isn't real. I'm saying that, or the planets aren't real. I'm saying what they're saying is these things might not be real. I'm not saying it ain't real. And like I said, they told me that Pluto was a planet. Pluto was not a planet. Then they said it wasn't a planet. Which one is it? Well, the Enoch calendar is 12 months, 364. I got to look into it. But yeah, anyway, yeah. I'm gonna look up these pastors that I have here. I mean, honestly, listen, I'm gonna say this again. I'm at the kindergarten level, and I got to master where I'm at before I try to move over to the different calendars and all this stuff. I got to master the basics. At the end of the day, you know, some of this stuff is above my pay grade. I got to get to where I got to grow and learn this stuff. I'm in kindergarten right now, and I got to be able to get to first grade. So that's just what it is. I'm okay with not knowing. I'm not okay with sinning. I'm not okay with being unrighteous. I'm okay with not knowing everything, though. But based on this Enoch calendar, it looked pretty much the same to me. I don't really see nothing that different. I mean, might be. I don't know. Yeah, but the rabbit hole, the problem with the rabbit hole is it never ends. So, like, at some point in time, I mean, it's just, The rabbit hole, it don't ever, the rabbit hole never ends. It'll never, like it's always going to, it's just, listen, like I said, kindergarten, the next grade is first grade. Then it's second grade. I'll go like that. I'm not going kindergarten and jumping into the rabbit hole and I'm in a master's program and don't know what's going on. No, and confused. Kindergarten and first grade, then second grade, then third grade. We're going to do things in order. Right, I'm praying for discernment. Bishop Omar is a Democrat. Oh, I ain't listening to him. Racism exists. Oh, no. Right, one hole leads to 50. Like, it's just too much, man. It's this, and then it's this, and then it's this, and then all this stuff is going on in these rabbit holes, and you got to ask yourself, well, what can I do about any of this stuff? What you gonna do about it? If you see a giant walking around tomorrow, what are you going to do? Because all this stuff we're talking about, all this rabbit hole conspiracy stuff, it all gonna boil down to your faith in the Most High. So what you gonna do? It all boils down to your faith in the Most High. That's what it all boils down to. Because whatever we face, whatever we see, it's gonna come down to that. How obedient we are, how faithful we are, how loving we are. Love, obedience, faithful. Or obedience, love, faithful. Everything will boil down to those three things. I don't care what it is. So if you face with anything, that's what's going to boil down to. Oh no, bro, don't tell me Jay Monty believe that too. Oh no. Oh, okay, Lady T. Thank you. But listen, I love y'all. Thank y'all so. Somebody said, here's a secret. The rabbit hole forms a wormhole, which turns into a portal, right? It don't ever end. You go, listen, you better master the basics. You better master the basics. You better master leaning on God. You better master on, and not your own understanding. You better master on having faith of a mustard seed. You better master loving your neighbor as yourself. You better master the basics. Y'all ain't master the basics and jumping in. You better learn how to pray and fast and read the word instead of jumping to these rabbit holes. Because I guarantee this right now, that rabbit hole ain't going to lead to salvation. That wormhole ain't leading to salvation. That portal ain't going to salvation. I can tell you that right now. It ain't going to your salvation. And in order to enter the kingdom of heaven, you got to be born again. So if it ain't edifying the kingdom, if it ain't building your relationship with God, if it ain't bringing people to the Most High, if it ain't doing none of that stuff, then you shouldn't spend too much time with it. I'm not saying you don't need to know what's going on. I'm just saying, if you spend hours in a rabbit hole, you better spend double the amount of hours in that word. So if you're studying these rabbit holes and conspiracies, you better be studying the word that much more. That's all I'm going to say about that. Bree, I don't listen to 2 songs, Bree. I only heard 2 of his songs, Bree. That's it. So that means so when we get married, we know that the rings are pagan, and it makes sense. It makes sense why the rings would be pagan. Christmas. It makes sense. Listen, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I will see y'all again probably on maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, probably Wednesday. All right, I'm gonna check him out. Listen, I love y'all. Hope y'all have a blessed day today. And I will see y'all soon, probably on Tuesday, maybe. Tuesday. All right, I love y'all. Thank you. All right.